started on the Aquarius new moon. It's February 11th, 2021. We're going to have the sun in Aquarius, the moon in Aquarius. We have Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. We have Venus in Aquarius. We have Jupiter in Aquarius. And we have Saturn in Aquarius. And the squares are to Uranus and Mars in Taurus. So Aquarius to me is the difference the world needs to see. And it's the mind builder. This is where our intelligence comes from, our emotions into reality. They are known for their sun sign in Aquarius more than anything because this brings the duality of that opposite Leo energy, and that ego becomes ego-less. But we see it as so ego. It's not ego. It's emotional. It's depth. It's to make the difference in the world that we need to see. Aquarius is all about humanitarian work. It means that we think of ourselves less and put into more about the world and what the world needs. How to harmonize, become equal, how to communicate, how to group things together, how to be futuristically thinking, how to be preventative, how to structure things in a different way from what they are. Because once you become that Capricorn sun, it's the goat on top of the mountain. And Capricorn holds their head up high and can see how far it has taken them to achieve what they need. And once they look up, they can see everybody else making their strive. So when the Aquarius comes in, now we're looking down and we're seeing everybody else that was not able to make that climb to the top of the mountain where Capricorn is. So when you have the sun there, it's making you very much aware of what needs to be done in order for everyone to gain this climb to the mountaintop. And it looks to Pisces, the depths of the ocean, where all the dreams need to come true. And Aquarius becomes the hope behind the dreams. It becomes the future in this way. Aquarius is known for having such eccentric tastes, such different ways of thinking, and even if they feel like they're not right for you, now is the time to see where your Aquarius house is in your natal chart. If you have an interception here, it can feel like you don't know how to accept changes. You agree with more of the traditional ways of life. You can't experience new things without having almost like you're holding yourself back from what can be new. People with interceptions in their natal chart with Aquarius also have an interception with Leo. And this makes their spirit builder also encapsulated. And if you have Aquarian planets or Leo planets in this interception, you're actually feeling more like, how am I able to do this and function in society? But an Aquarius and a Leo doesn't have that to hold them back. So you might look at mental health differently. If you have an interception, you might think of it as, what works for my parents will work for me. What works for my grandparents will work for me. But Aquarius is here and active way to push through this Aquarian energy is to understand that you are the difference. The way that you're thinking is set to be the difference. When someone has their sun in Aquarius and you don't get along with them, look at where your Aquarius house is. Look at your Leo house. Look to see what exactly nerves are they pinching in you. Because the sun here will fully illuminate the dark of what needs to be taken away. And this can cause a control issue for an intercepted Aquarian sign and a Leo sign who want structure of happiness and want structure of humanitarian work, who have no shame in building what needs to be built. Tearing down walls of negativity to build up positive energy is not always going to be for everyone. And so when an Aquarius sun comes in, the light of the room of your difference is created automatically. Any composite chart will tell you that. If you look to see where your Aquarius is and where this Aquarius sun has their energy in your house, that is how they're taking on your relationship with them. Where their placement is in their own chart is just how they put it out, but how you take it in is going to be where that Aquarius sun lays in your Aquarius house. An Aquarius moon, on the other hand, is going to illuminate. It's going to slowly bring the dark to light. It's going to have a more emotional depth to it than the sun, because the sun is like, bam, fire. The moon is a water sign. The moon loves nurturing and supporting it. So it nurtures and supports that idea of being different, that mentality of being different that needs to be done. There's a lot of things in the New Age sciences that Aquarian Interceptions might not agree with, but it's not for you to say, I need my checklist right now, because Aquarius is going to go high and it's going to go low. So that song, Sweet But Psycho, is perfect for your feelings, but that's not what an Aquarius is. You are going to be high strung for the times others are low, and you're going to be low when you have actually accumulated the energy that they have given you. So yes, a lot of Aquariuses don't care about what others think of them. Leo doesn't care what others think of them. It's about the vibrancy in Leo, but it's all about the communication skills and groups in Aquarius. That long walk to the well to provide water for their thirsty village. This is where an Aquarian sun and moon hit you differently. The Aquarian sun will tell you straight up what it is. An Aquarius moon will actually help you structure in a more nurturing way towards your difference and why you feel that way, and give you an understanding. So when you have a new moon in Aquarius, and right now we are jam-packed with an Aquarius Stellium in all of our Aquarius houses, now's the time that we want to mingle. Now's the time we want to see people. We've been starving for it. We've been thirsty for it. And Aquarius energy is bringing us to the point where there are new sciences that need to be looked into, yes, but also to have that hope that that is the difference that we needed in the world. Creating structure of your mind right now is all Aquarian energy, and it's squaring all of that Mars and Uranus and Taurus energy. When you have the Aquarius moon, depending on what house it is in, irregardless, it will feel like it's nurturing and support of your highs and your lows. It is not a motherly feeling. It is generally a providing feeling. So this is where that Saturn sub-ruler comes in. So when you make the right decision with Saturn, it rewards you heavily. When you make the wrong choice, it makes you work harder. With Uranus, rapid changes for the good. But what is that classification of what is good? We'll have to learn that in Pisces season. So right now with the Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, whatever house that is in for you, it is reminding you that you need to work harder on your inner work of your mind. Start to structure healthy relationship with self. That way you can structure the outer relationship with others. This also means limitations and boundaries need to be put into play. This also means that you need to provide for yourself. And then when that cup overfills, then you can provide the rest. Aquarius has their weight on their shoulders. And Aquarius rising is someone who comes into a room with the self-awareness of knowing that their mind frame is different than others. And it takes a lot of energy for them to realize that it's okay. Because they might not feel it. Because in their seventh house, that opposite of their first house, is partnerships, open enemies, the frenemies. It's about partnerships that have to do with the private section of our quadrants. It's the public, so it's Q3. So it's the third quadrant, which is the public relationships. Sorry for that. It is actually the part of us that is the self-awareness. In the first house is the private self. And when you go across the way to the public relationship, now you know you need to know who you are as an individual. There is no clashing, there is no branding, there is no thought of a topic or a category to put it in. What you're really doing during this time is knowing your emotions, knowing yourself, creating communication with others through yourself and your new mindsets, accepting others for their difference of their own mindset, but creating boundaries and limitations through your mindset. So these actions of Mars, Taurus energy is the bodybuilder. Most of us have been experiencing mind over matter, or just that exhaustion of all this work, and now I have to sit and relax, and you're not finding the time to relax. That means your Taurus energy needs to come into play as far as knowing when to be Ferdinand the Bull and stop and smell the flowers. So creating time through meditation, creating time to feel the way you feel, but don't be so expressive that you're taking over others' mind processes. Take it as your own. If you're coming home and you were happy the whole day and you come home and you're angry, explain to yourself why. Why is it that you're angry? Have you worked yourself so hard that you're exhausted and it has caused anger? Have you created such a place for yourself of welcoming, calling home, that now you're angry because everything you were so happy about is now going to have to go to sleep and rest, and your mind is just still going and going and going? The second house, Aquarius, and the eighth house, Aquarius, you're more of like the self-love is being unique. You might not know how to reward yourself as much as you reward others. This square is going to come into the Taurus houses. So it's going to feel like the 5th house and the 11th house in that axis. are a fixed energy as well. So your future and your joy and vulnerability can take effect. If you create your joy from what is vulnerable, what is stopping you from standing out in the spotlight right now is your nervous tension towards your futuristic thoughts. Now you're creating limits and boundaries for yourself, and you're holding yourself back. If this is in your 3rd and 9th house, your 3rd house of community loves the Aquarian energy. Your community loves and adores you for your difference. They might not come to you for emotional support, but they will definitely come to you for ways of thinking, new ways of thinking, how to take matters into their own hands. In the 9th house, Aquarius energy, you're going to be definitely a traveler of long distances. You probably love cultures of different cultures, period. The 4th house to 10th house, again, it's about upgrading yourself, downloading yourself, and creating a hope of what you wish to achieve. Emotionally, in the 4th house and in the 10th house, it'll be about your outer energy. What do I have to put out there? What is the difference that I need to put out there? How am I different from every one of my peers or everyone that I work with? And what is it that I make the difference of them? To know and create this community of a group setting, almost like a new mindset. So you give to others a new mindset, a new way of thinking. This becomes your genius. In the 4th house, it's all about knowing, just plain knowing that there needs to be a different way. And when you look to that 10th house Leo, how do you construct it? Looking at the full house. If Aquarius energy is in your 5th house right now, in your 11th house, in your 5th house, it's about the joy and vulnerability of the mind builder. And with all of this Aquarian energy and the planets transiting that house right now, I would say for sure that you're someone who's thinking about their future or their children's future, or thinking about what is it that makes you competitive. If it's in your 11th house, you're thinking futuristically, you're thinking about your future, and you're probably living it out right now, like plans into action. And you would have to be saving money for the future. You would have to be thinking about budgeting. You would definitely have to think about your achievements here with Saturn in that energy as well. In your 6th and 12th house, this becomes your day-to-day and your night-to-night. If you have Aquarius energy in your Aquarius energy in your 6th house, you're feeling like your day-to-day might be disrupted somehow, or you're creating that limitation and boundaries with everything that you have to do. Like, you shake it up anyways. You don't have a set schedule, and when you do, it's fine, but you're more of like analytically thinking in that way too, that like maybe I should have a schedule, maybe I should make changes to the schedule right now, maybe there's some things that I do need to achieve throughout my day-to-day routine. And in the 12th house, you're not going to accept the change from others, so you need to look within. Now's the time to meditate. Now's the time to have your hopes and dreams. Now's the time to have higher achievements through spirituality and start thinking differently. If you're someone who already thinks differently and you have conquered that Aquarian energy, good for you. Good for you, because this can feel like a self-undoing before it feels like self-enlightenment. So that's what it's like to have these transits in these houses right now. Spiritually, your mind builder is creating, it's achieving, it's growing, it's learning, and it's teaching. With the North Node in Gemini, you're definitely a student. With the South Node in Sagittarius, you're definitely the teacher. So now with all this mind builder energy, learn from others. Take in their perspective and build and take what resonates with you, and what doesn't, leave it ashore. Leave it. Filter your water. Filter your water. Filter your life. Right now is the time to look within and know who you are, and create a confidence level in yourself that you know who you are, and it doesn't matter who people say you are, because you are who you are. Embrace it. Create that new mindset. This new moon is going to create so much energy within that Aquarius house. It's going to illuminate all of it. And if you look to the other side of Leo, if you have Leo planets, if you have Aquarius planets natally, they're conjuncting. If they're on the other side saying, hey, I want the sun. I want the sun. Whatever Leo planet you have, you're going to feel it in a way where it is feeling like it needs to change. And it doesn't, and it becomes this stubborn, like mud. Don't walk in the mud. Learn how to create, in an intelligent way, shortcuts to the long road ahead. Learning shortcuts for your long travels. Learning shortcuts from point A to point B. Learning shortcuts from point A to point Z without having to go through every single stop. Do zigzags if you need to. Do it differently if you need to. Meditate differently if you need to. Just start to understand it's not about balancing everything. It's about understanding the difference in everything. I hope this new moon in Aquarius enlightens you, and even though your life may feel so much different, creating and grounding yourself in this new mindset is really going to stabilize this electric bolt that's coming through your life. Seeking your tribe is a very important thing to do this year, especially during Aquarius season. So if you haven't found your people, find them now. And if there's people that have been taking advantage of you, create those limitations and boundaries. This is going to be an interesting new moon and an interesting Mercury transit, and it's going to be so much more because we're full of love. With this Aquarius energy, it's about friendships. It's about not needing to snuggle, but needing to express yourself through your mind. You need to speak your mind. You need to get it out of your mind. Create that stir of energy and make it for more than what it was. If arguments happen, see where that's going. Why are we arguing? Do I have to think about what I'm going to say? Don't walk on eggshells. Be yourself. Be your genuine self. I'm going to be making a video about Aquarius in general because the misunderstood part of Aquarius is that everybody hates that tension of that electric bolt. And it's really about finding out where your Aquarius house is and why does Aquarius bother you. It's actually not about them. So I hope this helps you. More to come. Thank you for listening. Danny Rams, Maverick Spirit Astrology.